Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm glad to see everybody today. I want to show you basically how to react to cops when you get pulled over because of the system being so screwed up and the Constitution not being followed. These are some smart tips to follow, and especially number one is don't talk too much. You're talking your way into a ticket or into handcuffs. Just say what you have to say, be polite, and make sure, if possible, that you are filming the cops also, because they are filming you, so you can use that against them, even though they control the camera and they're doing the same thing. They're creating stuff on their camera and saying stuff to build a case. So this is why I'm telling you, follow these simple little instructions basically, and just, number one, don't talk too much, because cops love to get you to talk your way into everything. So keep it short. Check it out.
Most traffic stops go sideways because someone talks too much. That's it. A single sentence can ruin a day. So we're going to teach you 5 next level moves that stop that from happening. These moves are fast to learn and easy to use. They help you get the reason for the stop, put everything on record, and cut off questions that are designed to trap you. You don't need to argue or be aggressive. You need to be sharp and measured. Officers notice when someone is prepared. They'll treat you differently. That's the whole point. Learn these moves now and you'll leave stops cleaner and safer than most drivers.
Move 1. Make the cop talk first. When an officer approaches your car, your best play is to make them explain why you were stopped. The second they ask, "Do you know why I pulled you over?" you do not guess, apologize, or explain. You say calmly and clearly, "No, officer, why did you stop me?" That line does 3 things. First, it forces the officer to say the reason out loud where your phone or their body cam can pick it up. That matters because once they state a reason, it becomes part of the record. Second, it removes the pressure on you to perform or justify yourself in the moment. The goal is not to win an argument at the side of the road. The goal is to avoid giving them new facts they can use. Third, it flips the dynamic. Police are trained to get people talking because people talk themselves into trouble. By making the cop talk, you make them commit to a narrative they must later defend. Keep your tone neutral, use short sentences. When they answer, respond with one measured line, such as, "I understand, thank you." That shows cooperation without adding details. If they say something vague like, "I saw you swerving," ask the specific follow-up. "Which lane and about what time, officer?" Asking for specifics locks them into details and shows you are paying attention. Do not argue roadside. If the officer claims they smelled something or saw something in plain view, do not elaborate or offer excuses. Instead, repeat the scripted calm line. "I prefer not to answer questions without my attorney." In court or a complaint later, the fact the officer explained the reason first and specifically is powerful. This move is simple, legal, and effective. It controls the conversation, limits what you volunteer, and leaves you ready to use the next move with confidence.
Move 2. Use their camera against them. Every officer has a body cam now, and it's one of the smartest tools you can use if you know how. Most people think the camera only protects the cop. Not true. If you play it right, that same camera becomes your witness. The key is to make sure everything that matters gets said on record. When an officer walks up, keep your tone calm and neutral. After they give their reason for the stop, say clearly, "For everyone's safety, I'm recording this interaction as well." That one line changes the entire energy of the stop. It's polite, it's legal in nearly every state, and it reminds the officer that this moment isn't private. Now both of you are performing for the same audience, the record. Here's the psychology behind it. When a cop knows they're being watched, not just by their department, but by your camera too, they become more careful with their words, their tone, and their behavior. You don't need to threaten or argue. The camera itself does the talking. If they question why you're recording, respond calmly. "Just for transparency, officer." That line is neutral and professional. Never say, "for my protection," or anything that sounds confrontational. Keep it light, logical, and calm. Always hold your phone in plain sight. Don't hide it or make sudden movements. If your phone is mounted on your dash, perfect. Just angle it slightly so it captures both you and the officer's side. As you speak, narrate important details for the record. "My license is in the center console. May I reach for it?" That sentence shows cooperation and creates proof that your movements were announced. If anything strange happens later, raised voices, threats, false claims, your camera and their body cam tell the truth. In your video, caption this move as "turn their camera into your evidence." It's short, memorable, and powerful. Every stop is basically an interview. The difference is, one side records everything, and you can too. So next time you're pulled over, remember, the smartest person in the car isn't the loudest one. It's the one who makes sure the cameras catch everything. Move 3. Say less, mean more. The smartest people in any police encounter aren't the ones who talk the most. They're the ones who talk the least. Most people panic when a cop starts asking questions. They think staying quiet will make them look guilty, so they start explaining, "I didn't mean to speed," or "I only had one drink," or "I'm just trying to get home." The problem? Every single sentence you say can be used later, word for word, against you. Police are trained interviewers. They ask questions not for small talk, but to gather information. That's why this rule matters. Say less, mean more. When an officer asks, "Do you know why I stopped you?" you've already handled that with move number 1. But if they go further, "Where are you coming from? Where are you heading? Have you been drinking?" That's when this move kicks in. The golden line is, "I prefer not to answer any questions, officer." Calm voice, steady tone. Don't roll your eyes, don't sound angry, and don't over-explain. Just deliver it once, clearly, then stop talking. Silence feels awkward at first, but that's exactly why it works. The officer expects you to fill the silence. People always do. The moment you stop talking, they're forced to take the lead again. That pause shows confidence and self-control. And legally, you have the absolute right to remain silent. You're not required to explain where you're going, why you were out, or what you were doing. Here's how it plays out in your favor. By saying less, you give them fewer hooks to justify a search, a field test, or a probable cause excuse. You can't get trapped by your own words if you don't give them any. Remember, staying quiet isn't disrespect, it's discipline. For your video, caption this move as, "Every word can be evidence, talk less." It hits fast and sticks in the viewer's mind. So, next time an officer starts fishing for answers, don't bite. You're not being rude, you're being smart. Calm tone, short answers, steady hands. Because in any police stop, the quietest person usually walks away the smartest. Move 4. Play the lawyer card early. Here's a truth most people don't realize. You don't need to wait until you're in handcuffs to ask for a lawyer. The smartest time to play the lawyer card is early, before the conversation turns into an interrogation. Once the officer starts asking deeper questions like, "Where are you headed?" or "Have you had anything to drink tonight?" that's your cue. You're no longer just being stopped, you're being questioned. And that's when you calmly drop your ace. "I'd like to speak with my attorney before answering any questions." That line is powerful because it shuts the door legally and politely. You're not arguing, you're invoking your rights, which the Constitution fully allows. Once you say that, the officer should stop asking questions. Anything they get from you after that point can be challenged later in court. The key is to say it calmly, once, and then go silent. Don't say it with attitude, don't follow up with explanations, just pause, let the silence do the work, and remember, silence is strategy, not disrespect. Police are trained to keep people talking. That's their entire game. The longer you talk, the more details they collect. The easier it becomes to find something suspicious. When you invoke your lawyer, you take away that advantage. You're telling them, "I know the rules. I'm not playing the guessing game." It instantly changes the tone of the stop. You might worry that asking for a lawyer makes you look guilty. It doesn't. In fact, lawyers, judges, and cops themselves know it's smart. It's the same right they would use if they were in your shoes. You're not refusing to cooperate. You're choosing to protect yourself. If an officer keeps pushing, don't repeat yourself or argue. Just say once more, calmly, I'm choosing to remain silent until I can speak with my attorney. Then stop. Every word after that can only hurt you. The bottom line, the sooner you bring your lawyer into the conversation, even by name, the sooner the officer realizes you're not an easy target. You're calm, legal, and in control. That's real power.
Move 5. Ask for a supervisor if things feel off. Most police encounters are routine. You stay calm, follow the process, and go home. But sometimes you can tell something's not right. Maybe the officer is being aggressive, talking down to you, or ignoring your questions. Maybe they're stretching the situation, trying to get you to consent to a search, or making you uncomfortable without giving a clear reason why you're being held. When that happens, there's a smart, professional move most people don't know. You can ask for a supervisor. It's simple. You say, calmly and clearly, "Officer, I'd like to speak with your supervisor, please." That's it. No shouting, no attitude, just a clean request. This one line can completely shift the energy. It tells the officer you know procedure, you're not easily intimidated, and you're not going to get baited into arguing. Every department has a chain of command. When you ask for a supervisor, the officer has to explain why the encounter is happening, often while being recorded. Suddenly, they have to be precise. That means fewer power plays, less bluffing, and a higher chance of the situation cooling down fast. Here's the psychology. Cops know that when a supervisor shows up, their actions will be reviewed. That means fewer ego moves and more professionalism. So by asking for a supervisor, you bring accountability into the moment without ever raising your voice. You're not challenging authority, you're asking for oversight. Now, there's a right time to use this. Don't say it every time you get pulled over for a basic traffic stop. Save it for when things feel off, like when the officer refuses to explain why you're being detained, acts disrespectful, or seems to be escalating without cause. And once you ask, stop debating. Just wait calmly. That patience shows maturity and control. The goal isn't to fight or embarrass the officer, it's to create a record, slow things down, and bring in someone who's watching the same rules as you are. Because when you stay calm, record.
Well, that explains a lot. I thought that these guys were like top-notch investigators. That's not it. They collect evidence. They collect data. They're like data centers. They collect data. They're mobile data centers. That's disgusting. Really? I mean, they're supposed to stop crime. They're never there. Probably a 0.5% of the time they might be around when crime's going on. And then now they can't even investigate very well. So basically they're just interviewers. They interview you, take the data, and then stick it up. No. I knew that they weren't very good at law enforcement because they don't know the Constitution. These are steps to follow because of the system so jacked up, and they are interviewing you rather than following the Constitution. These are very good steps to follow. The least you say, the better off you are. The 5 steps is very important. Don't make it. Don't feel like you don't want to talk to the cops and like you feel guilty and stuff. That's he's right. I mean, the least amount you say, the better off you are, because they are taking every word you say and they're writing it down in their head or on the camera, and they have control of their cameras. So that's why you should film too, because they can sit there, delete stuff, turn off, mute the sound and stuff like that, which totally, in my book, that should be a termination for them. That camera, in my eyes, it's already bad enough because you got to have a cop's got to have a camera because they're telling you right there they're dishonest. And number 2 is when they have control over their cameras and they can mute stuff and turn it off in between things. That's bullshit. They should have that camera on their whole shift. I don't care if they're eating a Subway. I don't care. I want to see what they have on that sandwich. Because They're wearing it for a reason. They're not trustworthy. That's where we've gotten so far. So, leave it on. Hey, hope you learned something. I did. And subscribe. Love y'all.